Hi guys. So micro FPV quads. First we had the Inductrix, or the tiny whoop as it became known, and this is my one, and it's absolutely bog standard motors. And as anybody knows, you give a hell of a lot of throttle with this super extra weight, like the 1 gram extra weight from this camera, and VTX make all the difference. Good fun, and especially around the house, it's all good. And then I got this slightly ridiculous one, which I've got a full range receiver on, which it seemed to fly okay, you know, not too bad. I mean, I've even got this other one from GearBest I'm ready to review as soon as I get a receiver for, which looks quite nice, I have to say. To be honest though, I've never really taken them seriously. They're micro quads. I think they're good fun for flying around the house, and it's kind of, the weather's bad, what are we going to do? We can't go flying. I know, we're messing around with our micro quads. But I got invited the other week to a local site around here where the guys have been hiring a haul for over a year flying these little micro quads. And well, it was quite a humbling experience. I took along this thing expecting, yeah, it flies okay, I'll whiz around, go some gates with the guys, and I never really expected the evolution of what these guys managed. Because they've been doing this for a year, they sort of took this and said, these 8.5mm motors are too big, and they've checked all the motors. They sort of came from the Nano QX and moved upwards. They've changed motors out, they've spent more time tuning, they've been experimenting with props and power setups. They've got it flying like a regular 250 quad. I didn't really appreciate that was possible. I mean, this thing, if you try and do a hard maneuver in it, it sort of goes "Wah!" like that and sort of tries to fall out of the sky. But what they did was have these things really running nicely. Now, I didn't get a lot of footage from them. I had a GoPro set up on the ground for a little while, and I did some DVR recording. So what I wanted to show is a bit of my flying and a bit of their flying, and see if you can spot the difference. Here comes my little quad, quite sedately, but what I want you to focus on here is the amount of noise it makes. Now, from the point of view of my ears, there was nothing unusual, just your everyday little quad noise. But now have a listen to the absolute whispers that everyone else's quad makes. Barely a sound, is there? Here's a quick partial lap from my DVR footage. And by this point I've got a little bit better and getting around the course here. Not too bad. But as soon as I try and make a quick turn to the left, the back end of the quad just drops out. Now here's how it should be done. First up is Daryl flying a gnat flame. Really fast, really smooth. Although for some reason I was getting quite a bit of video noise off his VTX. This other point of view is Gaz, and he's flying, I think, a bespoke piece of cut carbon fibre, which really looked like the current crop of your typical racing frames, having a pure X design with the stack of equipment in the centre. He was also using a dipole for his video antenna, so I don't know if this accounts for some of this small amount of noise I was getting from his signal as well. It really seems to be acting like a nicely tuned 250 style frame. Now, these guys aren't really into proper racing, which is a relief for me, as aside from not being competitive at all, I find that people take the racing scene just a little bit too seriously. Instead, they get together and they chase each other around, and the racing just kind of develops and happens. Not all the flying was perfect, of course, and despite the low weight, you can manage to break things on these if you really try hard. And one of the downsides of these tiny brush motors is that their life is measured in hours. But even at the same time, that's quite a lot of LiPo's worth. I managed to crash many times, of course, and someone was even accurate enough to hit my GoPro.
No serious problems today though. I think we had one seized up motor after all the carnage and crashes that ensued.
So, aside from coming away from that thinking, God, I'm really bad at flying, and this is big, heavy, and ugly, I was quite excited about the possibilities of being able to fly these things really nicely. And some of you guys are beginning at saying, you know, well, you could have upgraded this a long way back. You can upgrade the motors, and you can change out this flight controller, and you can do all sorts. Quite expensive though when you start doing that, and there was, well, I was limited by the control on that because I've got the ready to fly one, because I haven't got a DSM controller. I've got my Tyrannus, but I've talked to the guys, I've talked about parts and what to get, and you can put something together now that should be really good, really cheaply. Key to some of the success the guys were having are the frames that Kevin has designed. Quite a prolific designer, and I'll put his Thingiverse link here. The one he came up with is called the Nat, and he was kind enough to print me out a whole bunch of these little tiny frames. These are ABS, quite flexible, set up for 7mm motors, with one of the integrated boards here and the camera at the front. So yeah, I haven't quite done it yet. I'm just about to order a whole bunch of little bits to go on one of these, build it up, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how it can fly. As soon as I get all this stuff and build it up, I'll do another video of that, showing how it flies, make sure it's okay, hoping it should be, exactly what I put on there, and what sort of price you'll be looking to do this for. Not as much as you think to get really great performance. So yeah, watch this space, and I'll be coming back soon with this. Thanks for now. Bye.